Let the interview begin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the For Love and Nerds podcast. I'm here with Jasper Andersen. Hi, Jasper. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So I know obviously you're an artist in creative effects, prop making, that sort of thing. So what attracted you to a career of that?
I was sort of always making things as a kid. I remember doing a lot of projects out of construction paper and Scotch tape and doing like Halloween stuff. I remember I did one time, I wanted to make a witch's nose. So I took green paper and kind of like cut it into a triangle and taped it together and glue sticked it to my face. And, I was kind of always doing like weird stuff like that. And so it's all sort of like
snowball,
just kind of built out of just really liking to make stuff and wanting to learn different ways of making things and better ways of making things.
Yeah, I get that. So did anyone inspire you, like growing up? Like any teachers, or did you take any certain classes that helped you develop your skill?
My dad, firstly, he was a very creative person, and he had, he's always kind of had a variety of different projects that he was doing. And so he had his garage was, he had all kinds of different tools and leftover supplies and stuff. And so, if I would have an idea for something, he'd go, "Oh, hey, let's try this." And so we did a lot of projects together. And he would, I did, remember in, third grade, I wanted to be Harry Potter for Halloween.
Okay.
So my mom sewed the robes, and my dad carved an owl out of a hunk of mattress foam.
Oh, wow.
And and so I think I was raised in a very creative household and one that really encouraged, being creative. And so that's probably the number one right there.
Nice. That's really cool to hear. And so what was it that came first? Was it because I know you do sculptures, you do makeup, visual effects. So what came first for you, more a professional level?
Well, it's sort of, I think it was, a lot of it really came out of Halloween for me. So I, really around high school, I started doing a big Halloween display in my parents' front yard, making like paper mache corpses and talking skeletons. And it was from the talking skeletons, which I learned sort of the mechanics online from a guy named Scary Terry. He had done up some instructions on how to mount a servo inside of a skull and make it talk. And I did that. And then there was another guy who went by Halloween Bob, and he did kind of the next version of that, where he made it so the skull could move around.
Oh, okay.
And so I followed his design to make that animatronic skull. But then I wanted to take it the next step. I wanted to do like a full face, like a Disneyland animatronic.
Okay.
And what I kind of had figured out, I guess through reading books on the subject, is that in makeup effects, there was a material called foam latex,
right,
which is basically like the same liquid latex that they make, rubber gloves out of.
Okay, yeah.
You can take that with some extra chemicals and whip it up like whipped cream, and bake it into foam that then you have this squishy, stretchy material into whatever shape you want.
Oh, nice.
And so I got a book from the library that was Lee Bagan, Techniques of Three-Dimensional Makeup, I believe it was called. And that book told you how to make foam latex, make molds for foam latex for makeup appliances.
Okay.
And so I sort of followed those steps to make a Frankenstein monster skin to go over the skull. And I had kind of before that point been sculpting some like witches and like a gravedigger character out of air dry clay, which is great because it's cheap and you can, sculpt it and let it dry and then you have the thing. But then having to learn how to make the mold and cast the foam and paint it and stick it onto the skull. Not that I did any of it like exceptionally well, but having to learn it enough to get through the project.
Yeah.
Then I kind of like that opened the doors into like, oh, well, now I have this book about makeup effects. I should learn more about that. And so I kind of kept learning more in that vein. I ended up taking the course by Dick Smith, who was the makeup artist who did The Exorcist, The Godfather.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote up 3 volumes on everything that he had learned in his career, and he would send it out to you as a course.
Yeah.
And so at the point that I did it, he had passed on the like actual interaction to a guy named Andrew Clement, who was also great, but still it was then having all of Dick Smith's teachings all together, and that really pushed me in the makeup effects direction. But at the same time, gosh, and I guess I also went to film school.
Okay.
In college, and so because I knew I wanted to be in film, and I didn't quite realize that the making stuff was the career part of it.
Yeah.
At that time, I knew I wanted to be in film, and I thought that the making stuff was the fun thing that I did. And then kind of like it all sort of came together, and I was like, oh no, this is actually the part that I really enjoy.
Yeah, I get that.
And so that, it was just kind of like everything kind of piled in, and it was like, oh no, I'm going to try to turn this into a job.
Nice, really cool. I've seen some of your work, and it actually looks really good. So it seems like you're doing some really cool stuff for your business. Yeah, that's cool.
It's we get to do some fun stuff.
Yeah, and do you feel like with every project you do, you're getting better and always learning with more experience and developing new ideas?
For sure. I mean, I'm very lucky in what I do in my day job is special effects, and I get to work with so many people who know so much more than me and have done so much more than me, and getting to, like you're always kind of like doing your thing, and then around you are these people doing it so much better, and it's really cool just to be around that all the time, and just see kind of like keep at it, because you could get as good as that guy.
Yeah, I get that, because there's always someone better out there than you, but it always betters you as a person to work harder, I suppose. So I get that. Yeah.
Totally.
So are you working on any projects at the moment?
Right now I'm doing, I'm on a TV show that's a children's show with puppets.
Oh, nice.
But on this one, I'm not actually, usually I've been working the last few years off and on with the Jim Henson Company.
Oh, wow.
It started with the Dark Crystal series for Netflix.
Yeah.
And then there have been, some other projects since then. But on this one, I'm actually working in the art department, which I don't normally do, but it's been cool that doing. Usually it's creatures or puppets or specialty costumes sometimes.
Right.
But I guess this show, not the production designer, the art director on this show was the production designer on another show that I had done.
Okay.
And she thought that I would be a good fit for this with what I do with now digital sculpting and 3D printing and just generally making stuff. So it's kind of it's nice to be in a position where you can kind of be flexible and do different types of things.
Yeah, I get that.
Because really, I think once you're like, if you know how to make stuff, you can kind of adapt that into different types of stuff.
That's similar. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So at this, how long have you been doing this, by the way, roughly?
As a career, I think, let's see, I started, my first job in this was, there's a guy named Ralis Khan, and he has his own line of Halloween masks, and he hired me to do the sort of production line of them, so making duplicate molds and painting the copies and trimming them. And so I did that. I want to say that was around 2013.
Okay.
So that many years, not too many.
Still quite a lot, 8 years. We're going on 9.
Yeah.
Nice. And so in that time period, what would you say are some of your favorite moments or biggest accomplishments?
I've let's see. So from that job, I met another makeup effects artist, Bruce Fuller, and he brought me into Legacy Effects.
Okay.
Around 2015. And I got to work on some really cool projects there. They do a lot of Marvel movies, Iron Man suits, and a lot of commercials. We did let's see, there's a local commercial out here that you probably haven't seen, but it's a junk food monster for the AM PM gas station convenience store place. I headed up that the art side of that project there, and we did, what else did we do there? We did suits for Pacific Rim 2.
Oh wow.
And let's see, it's a really busy shop, and we did a ton of stuff. But then I was at Henson's for the Dark Crystal series, and that was super cool. Just really creative show to be a part of.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
And that shot in England, and I was able to go over there for a short while.
Oh, nice.
To work on the production. There's a really cool project that I can't talk about yet that I worked on over the summer, that I was able to also do puppeteering on some creatures for.
Oh wow.
That's I think that comes out next year, so that'll be, I'm excited for that one.
Nice. So you do puppeteering as well?
Yeah, a bit.
Oh, nice.
As far, and there are different types of puppeteers, and for me, it's more just sort of like the stuff that I have worked on. I can make it come alive. Not so much, I'm not Elmo, but like a creature thing I can do. Yeah.
No, because I've spoken to so many different types of puppeteers. Like I said, you've got your Muppet types, you've got your string puppets, you've got all your other different types. Like you said, your creature ones as well. So yeah, that's cool. That's nice. You've got quite a lot of stuff in your arsenal, I suppose, then. Nice. So when did you learn to do puppeteering? Or is it just something you picked up along the way?
I think it's just kind of an along the way thing. Yeah, it's not something I've done a ton of.
Yeah.
I did do well, actually, in the Muppets did a Halloween special, Muppets Haunted Mansion, this year.
Oh, is that the film?
Yeah, it was for Disney Plus. It was like a 1 hour special. But I am in the background. I puppeteered one of my little ravens.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Nice. At least you got a Muppet credit then.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was primarily on that as a sculptor for as the visual consultant for the art department, doing a lot of digital sculpting of like architectural pieces.
Oh,
and
nice.
other stuff like that. But yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. So apart from everything we've spoken about, is there anything else you're interested in pursuing, or that you want to get done at some point?
I mean, I kind of just want to get better at the variety of different things that I kind of find myself doing.
Yeah.
I love sculpting, and I only get to do so much of it. But I think that's one area where I'm trying to find the time to work on more.
Is that 2D sculpting or is that in-person sculpting?
I do both. I do ZBrush digital sculpture in the computer, and I do clay stuff. There's primarily these days there's a Halloween mask company called Trick or Treat Studios.
Oh, okay.
And they have me do some different masks for them for their lineup, which is really fun stuff.
Is it a variety of different masks you have to do, or is it the same ones every year?
We do, let's see, what have I done for them? I did the Christopher Lee mummy from the Hammer movies. Nice. I did then a bunch of like cartoony Scooby-Doo villain monsters. Oh, cool. And so it's quite a range.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which is great.
Yeah, well, it keeps your mind fresh and that gives you more variety of stuff to do. Yeah.
Totally.
So what are your main goals going into the next few years? What would you like to achieve?
I don't really know.
Do you not have set goals, or do you just go project to project?
Yeah, I like to just kind of keep a lot of things in the air and just kind of see what happens. And I feel like to a large extent, there's not a lot of ways that I can control.
Yeah.
What I can do, just because I have no idea what projects are coming along. Yeah. Even like one that I've done before, I don't know if that was the only time that kind of thing is happening, or if there'll be more like it in the future. I don't know. So I feel like right now, especially, I just kind of waiting and seeing what happens, and just keep
that makes sense.
Doing stuff and seeing where it leads.
Yeah, I absolutely get that. So you've done a lot of projects. What, from your more personal projects, what have been the longest ones to do? Like, how long does a sculpture tend to take you to make?
For my personal projects, that's kind of, it really depends. Like a sculpture really depends, because there's sometimes, like a likeness sculpture can take weeks to kind of figure out. But then if you're doing something that's just kind of loose and doesn't have to match something else exactly, then it could be a couple of days.
Oh wow.
Just sort of depends on what it is, and also like what else is going on, because a lot of the times with my own stuff, it'll I'll just kind of pick away at it for like an hour here and there, and I have a shelf that's just full of projects that I've started and haven't finished, and it's like, what, if I keep them around and easy to grab, then hopefully when like, oh, I've got the silver paint out for this other thing, let me just grab that piece that I haven't finished and do it at the same time. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of stuff that I've started and have a long way to go on, but also just haven't touched in a while.
Well, at least you kept them though, you know.
Yeah,
Little souvenirs of what you could have done. I don't know.
totally.
I just want to finish on one final question, and that's you mentioned like you've been involved with a few movies and stuff. Is there any movies you'd like to work on that your specialities would fit perfectly? If you get me.
Yeah, I mean, what I would love to do is more creature movies, which there's not a ton of really practical effects, creature heavy movies that happen. But I think that's some of the really exciting stuff. And that was what made the Dark Crystal really cool, what made the project that I did over the summer really exciting. But yeah, I think, without being too specific about anything, I guess, but I think like the creature shows are what I really enjoy.
That's really cool. So, would you, obviously these are old films, but I like things like Lord of the Rings and, you know, the Harry Potter films.
Sure, totally.
Yeah. Because I can envision like, you know, Aragog and those sorts of creatures you could have worked on, I suppose. Is that sort of... Yeah,
absolutely. And, you know, Star Wars creatures, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, it's been amazing to learn a bit more about you, and it seems like you're doing some excellent work for your company and the rest of the projects you work on. So it's been great chatting with you, Jasper. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for your time. And I look forward to seeing more work that you produce down the line. So take care.
Thank you. You too.
All the best.